Welcome to the Car Flip Show. My name is Justin Carper. I was a part-time flipper turned used car dealer, and each week I'll be providing information on how you can flip cars as well. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let's get into the episode. This is the first ever episode of the Car Flip Show. If you followed the Car Flip online for any amount of time on YouTube especially, you might remember that we had a show previously titled The Car Flip Show. It was basically a show where I took you around weekly and we would look at different things here at my dealership, different ideas and questions that we would answer about car flipping. I would show you things that we were currently working on. Basically what we've done is replace that show on YouTube with a show called Daily Flip, where we do a daily show, a daily video show about my day's activities. So whether or not we sold a vehicle, maybe we were working on something, maybe we were answering questions. Sometimes we'll do live videos through our Facebook page, or sometimes on YouTube, we'll do a live YouTube video so people can ask questions and go back and forth on that. We took the daily flip and replaced the Car Flip Show. Now we have this Car Flip Show, which is an audio version. A lot of people have asked why we stopped doing that, and it really made more sense for the Daily Flip Show to be video-based because we're showing you a lot of stuff. The original show, we ended up answering a lot of questions, and it seemed to make more sense from a time aspect. So for you, maybe you are interested in buying and selling cars. Maybe you're doing it now, but you're only making a couple $100s on each flip, and you'd like to grow that profit. For me, my average profit is right at $2,000 a vehicle. So maybe you're looking to expand your profit margins. Maybe you're looking to get started, but you don't have the time to sit in front of your computer or your phone and watch some guy on the internet talk about car flipping. So we had the idea of creating this podcast so you could take this show with you. Maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're in the car on the way to work, whatever you're doing, maybe you're doing chores of the house, you can have this in your ear so it's not taking up your time, but you can still listen and learn. So we're going to be answering a lot of questions on this show. We're going to be reviewing some products, things that I use on a daily basis. So that's what the show is going to be all about. And that was the idea, to save you time from not having to actually physically sit in front of a screen and watch, when really you're just there for the content, not necessarily seeing me on the camera. I know that's not the most appealing anyway, so I can be in your ear instead of on your screen. So that was the premise of starting this show to begin with. As far as me, we titled this the About Me Show, and the reason we did that was when you go to a website, if you're there maybe to look at somebody that does something, and you go to the top and you see a menu, there normally is an About Me section. And so this is kind of what this is. That's, if you haven't followed the Car Flip, if you don't know anything about me, first off, my name's Justin. I have a website called thecarflip.com. That's where it all started. I had the idea to share information that usually wasn't shared. How to buy and sell cars. The premise, the idea isn't that complex. You buy a car and you sell it for more than you paid for it. It's the how do you do that, where the difficulty lies. And a lot of people that flip cars don't want other people to know how to flip cars because they think that if more people are in the market, it's going to take their deals away. And that's really just not the case. There's plenty of deals to go around, especially from the dealership standpoint. A lot of dealers do not like the idea. And I can honestly say that they definitely don't like the idea because I get hate mail quite a bit. I've had a lot of people from the dealership standpoint to send things to me and ask why I'm doing this, tell me that I should stop, because they don't like it that I'm sharing this information with you, because it's really not that complex. It's not that difficult. Once you get the hang of it, there's a lot of money to be made, and they think that we're taking their profits, which there's plenty to go around. So that's always been my mindset on it. I have an actual dealership now. I went from buying and selling on the side to starting my own dealership, and the mindset behind that was I was doing an amount of cars, basically to where my driveway was full. I had 7, 8 cars in the yard. My wife couldn't find anywhere to park. It made more sense for me from a time standpoint to be able to have access to auctions and to have the setup of a car dealership with a garage. Actually, every now and then you're probably going to hear an impact or something being hammered. My shop actually is right over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you would have seen me pointed to my left. So there's a shop around back. This is a functional used car dealership. This is also a functional garage. So there will be noises that come along in the podcast, I'm sure at some point, that you're going to hear. So for me, it made more sense to have this set up because I wasn't just doing 1 at a time or 2 at a time. I was doing 7, 12, 15 at a time. So it made sense for me to have the road frontage and the expenses that come with that. So when you actually have a dealership, there's a lot of expenses from the lot rent to the lights, the insurance to the bond. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it that if you're just starting out, you don't necessarily need from an overhead standpoint. So the idea of starting thecarflip.com and then the eventual YouTube shows and now this podcast are to shed light on how to actually go about starting and increasing that profit margin. Whenever you buy a car, the amount you can sell it for is kind of set. I mean, it's a set benchmark. For example, 2006 Chevrolet Equinox is worth, with 130,000 miles, I'm using that as an example because I just sold one. Let's say it's worth $4,500. What you pay for it is where your profit margin is going to come. So if you pay $4,000, you sell it for $45,000, you made $500. That's okay. I mean, I'm not going to blink and I have $500, but I'm also not going to buy that car for $4,000 and expect to sell it for $45,000 because there's not enough profit margin for me to take that risk. So for me, I'd rather pay $2,000 and expect to make $45,000 and maybe only sell it for $4,000 and make $2,000. Or I'd rather pay $2,500 and hope to sell it for $45,000, and if worst case I sell it for $4,000, I only make $1,500. I'd like to increase my profit margin as much as possible. So a lot of flipping comes down to buying. Every single penny you make will be from the buy. If you buy correctly, that's going to enable you to have the profit margin to actually make a significant profit, which is where I do well because I buy most of my vehicles well below value, and that allows me to make that $2,000 on average. And that doesn't mean I make I don't always make $2,000 on every single vehicle. Sometimes I'll make 23, sometimes I'll make 14, I'm talking 1,400, 2,300. The other week I made $3,000 on a car. Not long ago I sold one and only made 900. But when I average them all out, I'm making at least $2,000 from an average standpoint on every single car that I sell. So this podcast will help you kind of have the mindset behind that and teach you how to do that. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the show. Teaching you how to buy and sell cars from profit with an emphasis on maximizing that profit margin. And we'll do so through a lot of questions and just teaching in general on different topics. So that's the show. If you have no idea about anything of thecarflip.com, have no idea who I am, my name is Justin Carper. I've been buying and selling cars for about 15 years. I started out buying one at a time, two at a time. My first car that I ever bought was a 1984 Porsche 944. Unfortunately, things didn't go well with that. I might tell that in a later episode. Ended up, a guy messed up the engine that I had work on it. So I don't consider that my first flip because I didn't make any money, and it took like 3 years. Those are the type of situations we want you to avoid. So my first car that I ever flipped was a 1973 Beetle. Another interesting story, it caught on fire, but I still made $1,000. That's a story for another day as well. So don't expect to buy cars, set them on fire, and make $1,000, but we'll tell that story in another episode. So from there, I went to doing one to doing two, and then the rest is history. 15 years later, I have a used car dealership. This is what I do full time. So my schedule is completely in my hands. If I want to work the entire week, I work the entire week. If I want to take a day off, I take a day off. I really enjoy this process. I really enjoy running a business. I really enjoy buying and selling and interacting with customers. So for me, this is something I enjoy. My hobby is what I do. So some people like to go hunting. Some people like to go fishing. Some people, are on a bowling team. I don't know, softball team. For me, flipping cars is what's fun. And so that's what I do most of my time. Notwithstanding, I have 3 kids, happily married, just got a new dog yesterday, actually. So a lot of stuff going on in conjunction with me running a business. But this dealership has been here, if you're listening to this in real time, in the first part of 2018. This business has been in operation for almost 2.5 years as far as where we stand right now, this actual car dealership. So for me, that's when I made the leap 2.5 years ago to going to an actual dealership as opposed to doing it out of my yard. A lot of the content that we're going to go over on this show is going to be geared towards flipping, not from a dealership setting. So you're buying a car off of Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or Let Go, whatever app is hot at the moment. We're buying and selling, generally not under a dealership mindset as far as what the show is going to be about, because a lot of you don't have your dealer's license. You're just getting started. You don't need to go get your dealer's license if you're just getting started because you have no idea what you're doing. Last thing you want to do is put down thousands of dollars and then figure out it's not for you. So hopefully this show will help you get that mindset, see if car flipping is something you're even interested in, and then from there you can grow and hopefully expand those profits. So being this is episode 0, episodes 1 and 2, if you're, again, listening to this in real time, if it is somewhere in the first part of 2018, episodes 1 and 2 are going to be available immediately right now. So you can go listen to 0. You can head on into episode 1 and 2. Those are going to be, I guess, quote unquote, real shows. So there's going to be actual questions we're going to be answering, actual teaching in those shows. I'll even tease that I'm going to talk about the 1973 Beetle that caught on fire, maybe in episode 1, and how I made $1,000 and why it caught on fire. So we'll talk about that in episode 1. Otherwise, it would be extremely helpful, especially for those of you that are listening to this in real time. When you start a podcast, this is something that's new to us. I'm not used to talking with this apparatus here, this microphone in my face. Normally there's one clipped to my lapel, a little lapel clipped to my shirt. So I walk around and I can move. I'm stuck in one place. So it's not, it's something that's new to me. But being this is a new show, we would like for as many people to be able to listen to this show as possible. If you could leave a review and leave a rating, and I'm not going to ask for a 5-star rating. That would be very helpful. So I guess subliminally I just did, but leave an honest rating. I would love for you just to leave what you think. There's 1 through 5, 1 is okay. 5 is amazing. So be kind there, I guess I would just ask. And otherwise, leave a review. Tell me what you thought about the show. The more people that leave a rating and a review, it allows the show in Apple's algorithm. If you're listening to this on iTunes, the algorithm processes and it lets more people see the show. So that would be incredibly helpful. Otherwise, if you would subscribe, that's going to allow you to see the show and have every single episode in a queue, which will come out every Friday. We're going to call it Car Flip Friday. So every Friday, there'll be a new episode of the Car Flip Show that will arrive in your queue if you subscribe to it. So I would love for you to leave a rating, leave a review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes. Otherwise, I'm going to see you in episode, and I say see you, you're going to hear me. I'm going to be in your ear. I have no idea what to say. We're going to be going to episode number 1 next. We're going to try not to do any editing in the show. So if I mess up, whatever, it's not going to be polished. You're going to hear when I mess up in every single show. So there's the first one, I guess. Otherwise, other than me accidentally hitting the boom while I go, this is what they call the boom if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, it's what my mic is attached to. I accidentally smacked it a second ago, and I just did it again. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Otherwise, I will have you listen to me in episode 1. Thanks for listening. You're amazing. I'll see you in episode 1.